I love indicator movies. I find these are things that I've very rarely heard of, but I genuinely love most, but not all, of their content. And particular favourites of mine are their box sets. I have discovered some fantastic movies through the Hammer volumes, or whether it be the Tall Tales set, which was terrific, or the William Castle set that I've recently just got my hands on. But just now I am talking about the Hammer third set. This is Blood and Terror. The set contains Camp in Blood Island, The Stranglers of Bombay, Yesterday's Enemy, and the movie that I'm going to be talking about today, The Terror of the Tongs. Now, this is a fairly simple plotline. It's set in an Asian country, Japan, where they have this kind of sub-mafia, the Tongs, that are kind of bleeding the country dry. You have these criminals, much like a mafioso, who are putting pressure on shop owners to take money. Everybody around about them is in poverty, depravity, don't have the essentials that they should have. And then you have this gang that are living life to the max because of their ill-gotten gains. At the start, we get to meet a character who is travelling back to his homeland, who has some information about all the Tongs, and he is murdered very quickly on. The information starts to pass hands, and everybody that touches it is getting taken out by this devious leader of the Tongs, played by Christopher Lee, in pretty decent form. Gets a lot of lines in this one as well, so you get some good dialogue from the man. And we have this ship captain that brought along the man at the start who was killed. It was carrying a list of names, and his daughter is murdered by this gang, and he sets out for revenge. It's kind of like Taken, but not as violent and a little bit more campy, and definitely a hell of a lot more fun. I'm really liking these Hammer movies because I've seen a lot of the horror ones, the staples, the mummy movies, Dracula, Frankenstein, those kind of things. These are kind of going a little bit below the surface in movies that I hadn't really noticed before, and I've already discovered some favourite movies out of these two sets, and I was really interested about getting onto the Tongs to figure out if this was going to be one of them. It's got a really short running time, under 80 minutes, which gets a tick in my box. It had some fantastic production design as well in this set, which I discovered during some of the extras was actually a reused set from a TV pilot. They just pretty much they had the ability to use this set. They came up with a story that would fit into it, just kind of shoehorned in, but it never feels forced like that. It's an interesting tale which has been butchered a little bit by the censors, and we don't get some of the images that were truly intended. We get a nice performance from the lead guy, the captain. I really did like him. Some of the other characters, who are all Caucasians, they're acting to be Asians, and this would never fly today. It's definitely whitewashing, but at time and a place, I do like to see Christopher Lee's a bad guy. A sort of precursor to Fu Manchu. I like Terror of the Tongs, but it's not the favourite I've seen in these Hammer sets. It was one that kind of zipped by, but it's not left a lasting impression with me. It's something that I may have to go back to again. I did genuinely enjoy most of what was happening, but I didn't feel anything that was going to resonate with me. There was some bits that just ticked me off a little bit, most to do with the cuts, because the Tongs' main MO is to cut off a couple of fingers of their victims so that everybody knows that they have been taken out by the Tongs. And because of the censors, you don't get some scenes that probably wouldn't be that, in your face today like some other movies, but they would have been a nice addition to the movie and really just tied it together rather than having those choppy cuts that the movie does have. Christopher Lee's fantastic, the production values are terrific, the score is pretty fantastic as well, and we have an all-round pretty decent movie, just not outstanding. Of course, with Indicator, you get the usual extras. So there is a 40-page booklet inside this one, with some good information and some press cutouts as well from the press pack. Also has the original mono, has audio commentary with writer Jimmy Sangster, assistant editor Chris Barnes, and film historian Marcus Hearn. It has Hatchet Men inside The Terror of the Tongs. We have horror author Stephen Lang, who gives an exuberant introduction to The Terror of the Tongs, an 8-minute long just deluge on how fantastic this movie is going to be, which is pretty interesting. He's got an obvious passion for the movie. It is Hammer and Tongs, which is just over 10 minutes in length, and this is just a new appreciation of the score of the movie. Hammer's Woman is just a little 6-minute featurette on the female star of this film, which is okay. It's not the best extra that's on here, but it's still fairly informative and quite interesting. You have Sheer Terror, which is just a 3-minute conversation with a production designer, a strange throw-in, but one that's kind of interesting because of that fantastic set. And of course the usual theatrical trailer and stills gallery. Now you can only get this movie as part of the Volume 3 set, which I haven't worked my way through all of as yet, because I've still got another 3 movies to go in this set, and I am looking forward to going into them to find if I've got another 5-star new favourite of mine, and if I do, I guarantee yous will be the first to hear about it. I'd love to know your opinion of Terror of the Tongs. Let me know in the comment box below, and I'll see you next time on Man vs Film.